First things first, it's bloody freezing. It feels colder than it did the night when it got down to like allegedly down to -9. So I don't know what it was last night, but for the first time there are sort of slabs of ice floating along in the canal, which I've not seen before, even on the -9 days. So yeah, first update is it's fucking freezing. It feels like a colder start than any I've made so far, even though theoretically it only got down to -3 I think last night, but that was the forecast here. On the cut I would imagine it could have been -8 or, you know. So second most important thing is my toes are already getting cold. This does not bode well because it's quite a long cruise today. Well, I say quite long by winter standards. It's about, I think, 4.5 miles as the crow flies. This, but it's so windy. I mean, that's, you know, there are 2 big loops anyway. So it's near 8 miles. After I turn the corner at Trevor, the village called Trevor, or Trevor. Sorry, I'm not saying. Oh yeah, and I cross over the Pontcysyllte Aqueduct. It's Pontcysyllte, or something quite similar to that. Because I was listening to Dan Brown saying it, and it, you know, who knows better than him. So Pontcysyllte. Anyway, you can hear the ice sheets moving at the side, cracking. Can you hear that? This is the coldest day. This definitely is the coldest day. No, well, the ice, there's your proof. If this canal wasn't flowing, it would have frozen over probably several days ago, actually, when the cold weather started. Quite hard work, that lift bridge, gotta say. I'm used to sort of 30 or so turns, 35 I think someone counted. That was about 50 odd. It was a bit stiff, but a good bit of exercise. Right, so I'm going to get the boat over to the bank here. Come back and look at this bridge. Oh, my hands are freezing. I'm going to do. I'm going to pop inside and warm my feet before we do this final. Oh, screw it. Oh, it's so cold. Oh my God. Oh, let's go. Well, that warmed me up a bit. Doing that lift bridge warmed me up, and that was lowering it. And there is ice ahead as well. Ice dead ahead, Captain. Only half an inch thick. Ice breaking. Who knew? You see those videos of boats doing ice breaking? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh my God. We are ice breaking. This is fabulous. I'm going to have to risk getting cold. So. To be fair, someone's already ice broken the central channel, so someone probably been through this one. It's more, do you know, it's more iced up here because it's a still section, isn't it? That's what it is. This little basin and winding hole was a still section. The view. God, Wales is such a lovely place. It really is. No wonder the Welsh are so proud of it. It's magnificent in all weathers, but you know, on a sunny winter's day, oh my God, it's beautiful. Bit of a narrow section. More boats. Oh, my toes. Is anyone coming? We're just heading into the aqueduct. It's a hell of a sight, and there is a boat coming. Hello. Morning. Forgive the phone.
No, it's okay, you can't get it. Go get it.
Such a view, you can't miss it. And that's the view down. 120 feet, I believe. Canal nerds, of course, will know all of this. Don't you think that thin iron construction is all that's stopping me in this boat from plunging 120 feet through an extremely messy dune? I don't want to strain it. Actually, I don't want to think about that either. But I want to hold the camera because it's such a rare sight to get this. But I've got to watch the sides. I don't want to do it. And I'm rubbing against the sides. Okay, I'm gonna stop that. What? Jeez. Oh my God. 120 foot drop. Absolutely terrifying thought. Kind of staying away instinctively from that side. There cannot be a sight like this. There cannot be a sight like this anywhere. just be taking a 20-ton boat. I'm kind of scared. I'm cautious about leaning over to check how close I am, which I normally do, because if I lean too far or I slip, because the boards are still icy a bit, well, yeah, it's a good night. Look at that over there. What a beautiful valley. It's just bizarre. It's the most bizarre experience to be moving about 120 feet above the ground. It's just bizarre. And every time the side of the boat nudges against that little steel rail, I sort of get a bit so I'm steering away from the outside. I'm doing pretty well, to be honest, considering I'm holding a bloody camera. You know, look at it. Astonishing. Absolutely astonishing. Again, I got this far last summer when I did this, came on this canal. I got this far. I think it was like July. And it was so busy, I gave up and turned round and I just gave up. But I feel now like I sort of can't give up. You know? I can't give this up. We're approaching, we're within a couple of 100 yards of the end, thankfully. As amazing as it is to take a boat over here, I'd quite like to be off it now. This place, and this, oh my god, there seems to be some rubbish crunching against the rudder, I think, or the bottom of the boat. It's hard to tell for sure. I should show you what's going on here. I'm trying to get into there. I'm trying a different phone. I'm using these old phones as cameras, and obviously very variable quality in terms of results, but I'm using the phones as cameras, and one of them is just refusing to sort of focus. So now it's a 5-mile section, and there's a series of narrows, and this is the problem we've got, is the narrows. And all I can hope is that other boats are not currently on their way out of Llangollen. This is extraordinary. So I'm going to put my foot down now, because I kind of got nothing to lose. If there's ever a section, 1400 RPM, if there's ever a section of any canal where you want to get your foot down a bit, it's doing the last 3 or 4 miles of this. Well, it's 5, isn't it? On a winter's afternoon. I'm just watching this bend here because I'm having to come round really sharply. This is I don't think I've seen bends like this, like an S bend, since the River Nene a couple of years ago. The high hills over there, it's amazing. You don't see, from the English canals, you don't see high hills a mile or two away across a valley. It's not a canal experience. Absolutely amazing. But there's like a huge ridge ahead of us that stretches all the way along. And the sun, that's a bit of a bummer really. The sun is going down. That's the start of a song, isn't it? Although I search myself It's always someone else I see. But losing everything is like the sun going down. I can't sing with a snotty nose. So, snoods back on. Ruined my gorgeously manicured hair, obviously, which chose completely at random to do a sort of a double bouffant this morning, which is quite challenging from a styling point of view, being seen out in public with this double bouffant thing. But my hair does what it wants, as we know. You know, the stream is stronger here, obviously, and it's not doing it for me. I'm getting a mile and a half an hour, and that's just going to take forever to get there. That is 3 miles, you know. Yeah, I hadn't factored this into my thinking when I talked about average 2 miles an hour and that sort of thing. I'll still be in before dark, so that's okay. So, oh shit. Okay, brilliant. While I was picking the camera up and messing about, making sure it was on, I was nudging over to the side and I just hit it. And the back end's just hit it. The trouble with this, right, with this thing of filming, is it does take your eye off the ball in some situations. And I'm kind of bad enough when my eye is on the ball. This canal is so windy that you can't take your eye off it for more than a few seconds. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give up on the filming for a little while and just avoid hitting things. I mean, I know, you know, it's an I know I'm an amateur boater, like big time amateur, but I mean, that was getting out of hand, trying to film and steer. So I've cut down to sort of 1,000, 1,200, because this is a really sharp end. Jesus, what the fuck, you know? This is a sharp one, this one, I'm not joking. But it's weird being the only boat that's moving on the canal. I mean, apart from the hotel boat. It's not weird in that it feels like it's the coldest day that we've had so far this year. It really does feel cold. So it's cold, but so it's not unusual to go out with anyone. No, it's not unusual, you know, from a common sense perspective, because why would you, you know, want to be cruising on the coldest day? You would stay put, get the fire on and just read a book. I've found that it's difficult to generalise about boats and where they'll be and how many there'll be, because there's no predictability. Well, there's some. Okay, so it is predictable. There's not many boats moving today. Very, very few. The hotel boat and me. I think that I see one. We did pass one earlier on, didn't we? Sorry, yeah. But there'll always be one Maverick. I'm just hoping that we don't meet the Maverick in the middle of the narrow section. That's my hope. That slate that they carried on this canal must have been really prized stuff. But of course, carrying it on horse-drawn wagons, because these predated the railways, didn't they, the canals? Carrying it on horse-drawn wagons, imagine going downhill one of these steep slopes and roads with, I mean, several tons of slate on your wagon. It must have been a bit of a hair-raising experience. Imagine pulling the thing up the slope as well. You would need like a dozen horses or something crazy to get a really heavy weight of slate up a slope. So some sort of wrapper there on the canal bank. Okay, I don't know whether you noticed we just hit the side. Too busy. Did you see what I mean about looking at the... I spent like 15 seconds looking at the wrapper wondering what it was, and the back end swung out. I'll cut that out. Side. But on that side there's just like a small mountain. Just entered that bridge behind. We just entered the narrow section, which is a few hundred yards long, and you're meant to send crew on ahead because you can't, two boats can't safely pass. It's too shallow at the sides. The passing places are apparently marked with a white post where it's deep enough to get past. I didn't look, it's probably before one. Oh, fucking hell, there's a boat coming. Wouldn't you know it? Okay, guys. Gonna have to take some action, I feel. I'm gonna go back to the bridge and let this guy through. So, that's the passing place. Very limited opportunity, obviously. Right. So I'm in the Narrows. I got past the trick boat. Oh my God, look at that view across the valley. Sun, by the way, the hills over here are lower, so the sun's got a bit more time up in the sky, which is very welcome because it's lovely and warm. I mean, relatively speaking, when it's up in the sky like that. And up here there's a huge wall with a house on top, like a, obviously it was a cutting. Well, it is a cutting, isn't it? It still is, otherwise we wouldn't be in it. So thankfully this is the end of the narrow section. There's a bridge here, and I'm trying to quite a narrow gap this. So we're doing okay. I think there's less than 2 miles to go. So I'm managing about 1.5 miles an hour. Lift bridge is up. Sweet. Cruise on. Okay. We've got one more narrow section. One more narrow section and then final run into the basin. Certainly we're no more than a mile away, I feel now. One last minor sort of thing to think about, which is we're coming into the last section of Narrows. Shallow Narrows to one boat width for 500 metres. with no passing places. Oh blimey. Okay, so 500 metres, we are one boat wide, and if we meet anyone, basically we've got to rewind. One of us has got to pull their boat or reverse their boat all the way back out. These are the sorts of situations where being single-handed is like a real pain at times, you know. I don't suppose you noticed any boats coming behind there. Fingers crossed. Thanks, guys. Cut out of the rock along the side of a hill. It looks like it's cut out of the rock. There's a bit of the Chester where the canal goes through Chester that looks like this. These high rock faces, well, high by canal standards, that literally drop into the water. You can see the rock ledge. I can see, probably camera doesn't show it, rock ledges under the water. They've literally hacked the path of this canal out of the side of the mountain. This is the end of the narrow section, 100 yards ahead, and then there's some moored boats. We're on the final stretch of about half a mile, just about. And these are winter moorings. These, you pay for these, you've got electricity. You might even have water. And you'll pay. And I don't think they're cheap, because it's a popular spot. These aren't cheap. Proper little S-bend. How do the 70-footers do this? I've just nudged the front end, but that's just me being daft. How do the big boats get in here? Skills. First Llangollen. First year of Llangollen time. Brilliant. Sun's still up. What a house, look at that. Like castellated walls up top. Is that what they call it? So, I don't know exactly where the basin entrance is. I feel like it might be under that bridge that's up ahead. Yeah. Wow, the long voyage is almost over. About an inch of ice. That's where I'm headed for. Now fortunately, everyone in this dock can see what a mess I make of these manoeuvres. Should have come in head first. I'll see how it goes. Yeah, I might have to come in forward, but I'll give this a go.